I didn't know they had such a big. So it's new one. You guys ever heard of it?
It's first I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
I didn't even read the note. I just heard of it. Or
I still don't know, but-
Okay, we are live.
Thank you.
Wow. So,
Wow.
I'm gonna tie. How are you, Mark?
Good, yourself?
Good.
Right. You're taking over.
No.
So you're fine.
I can.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're fine. I'm just gonna put underneath the cords and
Okay.
stuff that I'm not.
Why do you say? Mhm.
One more now. Actually, as I'm here. Job. Stuff. Okay, thank you.
That's the. Wrong that.
All right, guys, it is 6 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order with a motion to declare an open meeting.
I'll make motion. Second.
Motion by Hannah, second by Bobby. Voting Hannah,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Julia is absent. Mark? Yes. And Jason, yes, we are in open session. We welcome our visitors to the meeting tonight. As per the law, the Board of Education does adhere to the Opens Meeting Act, and a copy of that act is posted on the wall to my right. This meeting has been properly advertised according to policy and the Nebraska Opens Meeting Act. We'll go ahead and move on to our consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Bobby, second by Hannah. Bobby, do you have any comments, questions?
I don't think so.
Hannah?
No.
Any other board members have any comments or questions? Moving on to the vote then, Bobby?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
Julia is absent. Mark? Yes. Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. This time I'll open up the floor to public comment. As per policy, we will allow 5 minutes per speaker with a maximum total allotted time for public comment, not see 30 minutes. Come on, Mr. Robertson. I know you have something to say. Nothing? You don't mind. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll move forward then with the public comment. We'll move on to our presentation from Sharon from the Nebraska Association of School Boards.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sharon Enmark. I'm your Director of Member Engagement at the ASC. Well, thanks, too. I've been at NASD full-time for 13 years, and before that, worked for NASD on home just part-time a few months out of the year for 6 years. So been around a little while and I've met some of you before, but maybe not all of you personally. So first of all, thank you very much for giving me a few minutes. I promise I will not take probably more than 15 because I want to be respectful of your agenda and your time. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the benefits that you receive as a member district of the Nebraska Association of School Boards. So often, unless we have an opportunity to talk with you about some of the details, there might be a whole lot of things that we have access to that you just were not aware of. So I brought along our membership guides because this is the best way for me to hit all the highlights and be sure that I tell you at least a little bit about many things that NASB does. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go through the membership guide with you. And I move pretty quickly. So please stop me if you have questions or if you'd like me to slow down. I could talk about NASB all night long, but I promised I would keep it under control. So if you open it and go to page 5, this is the page that has the yellow umbrella on it. This shows you the entities for which NASB is responsible. So we have 3 seats on the EHA board, which is the Educators Health Alliance. And then we have some interlocal organizations, ALICAP, which is our insurance pooling organization, which you do participate in. And then NJUMP and CJUMP, which are our natural gas purchasing consortiums. You also participate in the NJUMP program. And you're just new, Mr. Evans. So I looked that up before I came, so I could tell you about that. And then we do have 2 technology companies that are for profit corporations, Spark Data and Envise. And you do participate in Spark negotiations program. So that should be really helping you this time of year as you're gearing up to start negotiations, unless you did a 2 or 3 year deal last year. So if you have any questions about those things, I'll put you in touch with the right people at our office to answer those for you. Then we also facilitate a few other programs. We facilitate the Council of School Attorneys. There are many school attorneys that operate here in the state, 2 big firms in Lincoln, and then several others around the state that do work for schools as well. And they meet 3 or 4 times a year. In fact, they just met last week. It's pretty powerful to be in the room with several representatives from all of the law firms. And they were just kind of talking about, I'm hearing this. These are what our clients are calling us about, and talking about how they can problem solve together to help school districts. It was really cool. So I went along so that we could plan the school law seminar next summer, but I said, I wish our members could have been part of that meeting. It was really interesting to see them all work together so well. It was awesome. Then we have the Nebraska Public Leadership Foundation. That is a foundation that provides us with some money to do some cool things for schools. Once in a while, we may contact you and say, we would like to offer a scholarship for maybe attending an event or doing a board retreat, something like that. That all comes from foundation dollars. And then the NAEP group, NAEP, is for superintendent administrative assistants. No matter the size of the school, they're the only person in your district that does that job. And sometimes they have questions and they need to be able to network with other people around the state that do that. So that is a nominal fee. I think the membership fee might be $50 a year. And then they have one conference in the spring. And then they have a daily listserv where they can post questions and people all over the state can answer it. So it's a pretty powerful group too. Then if you turn the page to page 7, you have a letter here from John Spots, our executive director. And you'll notice as we go through here, our marketing director put in where each of us are from in Nebraska. Almost everybody on our staff was raised here in Nebraska. We have a few that have moved in and discovered the good life, but most of us are locals. John Spots always wants me to remind everyone that before he became the executive director, he was the legal counsel for our association, and he still fills that role. So once in a while, usually superintendents, sometimes board presidents might have questions about, can we do this in closed session or open session? Are we going in and out of closed session properly? Are we advertising properly? Or this just came up at our school. Can you answer it for me? That kind of thing. You can always call or email John Spots, and that is no fee for you. It is not to take the place of your school attorney. And if it's a really in-depth situation, he will not be shy to tell you that's further than what he can go, and you need to contact your school attorney. But once in a while, you think maybe you're doing something properly, but you might just want to have that confirmed. That's just a nice little benefit of your membership. So don't be shy to reach out to him. Then on page 8 and 9, it shows our NASB Board of Directors. We have 23 Board of Directors. These are all locally elected school board members that, in addition to serving at their own district or ESU, serve on our Board of Directors. And our board meets 5 times a year. So from your area, you are represented by Neil Cannell from HTRS, who would be very close to you. Then on the next 2 pages, it shows each of our board of directors and the districts that they represent. So if you turn now to page 12 and 13, this shows you about our legislation committee. Our legislation committee is also made up of locally elected board members, and where our board of directors gives us as a staff direction as far as where they want our association to go and where we should be putting our resources. The legislation committee works with Colby Coash and Matt Belka in our office, and they give them information about how NASB should be best representing all schools of all sizes in our state as Colby works at the Capitol. And that is a difficult job sometimes to represent all the schools, but it's something that we work really, really hard at. And you'll see that there are members on this committee from small schools, from medium-sized schools, and from large schools, and they have some pretty lively discussion. And they meet in person a few times a year and then virtually at least once per week while the legislature is in session. So they're pretty busy. Then on the next couple of pages, it shows each of the legislation committee members and the districts that they represent. So our board of directors is done by geography. This is done by school district size. So you are technically represented on this committee by seat number 14, which is Eric Lee. He is a board member at Oakville. Okay. I promised I would go fast, so slow me down if you have anything you want me to tell you more about. But page 16 and 17 show you our awards program. All board members earn points by the events that you attend and the participation in programs that your school district does. So at our area membership meetings, which when we did get to meet Jason there this fall, that's when we give out the awards. So we do that once a year. And then at the state education conference is when the Ann McTier Award is given out, and that is for School Board Member of the Year. So there are lots of individual awards, but then there are also board awards as well. So if your entire board participates in at least 2 events per year, and there are some other criteria, then you can win awards as a board. Once in a while, a school district will decide that is going to be really important to them and include that in their goals for the coming year. But it takes commitment from a full board for sure. Then if you turn to page 19, this shows you our staff. But on all the pages following it, it shows each of us in the programs that we're responsible for. So we will go ahead and move on to page 20. This is Colby Coash. He is our Associate Executive Director. And before Colby came to NASB, he was a Nebraska State Senator. So he has a really unique knowledge of our unicameral, and he does such a great job of teaching us as staff members. And I think he does a great job of teaching you as members as well, as far as what is happening in the legislature and why this particular bill, whatever it is, would be important to your school district. Because if it passes, it might affect this, and this, that type of thing. And he has really worked very hard to get board members involved in the legislative process. So if you are ever interested in observing the legislature, give us a call, come to our office first. We'll drive you down to the Capitol so you don't have to fight with parking. And then he'll make sure that he gets you introduced to your senator. And if you need to speak with your senator, he can pull them off the floor and make sure you get some time to work with your senator as well. And if there's a bill that is of great interest to Pawnee City and you feel very strongly for it or against it and would like to testify at a hearing, let Colby know, because that is kind of a daunting process. He'll bring you into our office first and make sure that you feel really comfortable and feel like you have been coached in how that process works. Like, here's the chair you will sit in. Here's how you introduce yourself. You can expect this number of people in the room. They'll probably ask you X number of questions, that type of thing. He discovered a few years ago when he was contacting board members and asking if they would testify at a hearing on whatever the bill was. They said, I would love to, but I really count on our superintendent to be the expert on what is going on in our school. But once in a while, it's really important to have one elected official, you as a board member, speak to an elected official, the state senators. Sometimes they just hear it a little bit differently. So that's been a difficult task to make you board members feel really comfortable as if it is something you are very well qualified to do, which you are. So we're still working on it, but if you'd like to be part of that process, just let us know. We'd love to have you. Then on page 21, this shows the team that works on our alley cap and insurance. And I'm sure that have you been in contact with alley cap since you've been here?
I haven't been in contact with
Well,
them.
congratulations. You haven't had.
That's a good thing. Yes.
But your main contact would be Megan Bolt.
Okay. I see they're pretty sterling heavy.
We are. Two of them are your neighbors just down the road. Yes. For a while, we had another person in our office from Sterling too. It was very Sterling heavy. If you turn to page 22 and 23, this is our board leadership department. And this department has grown so much over the last several years. For a while, it was just Marcia Herring that did all of the work of this department. But as she worked with districts more and more, districts had more things that they were wondering if they could work on. And she was only one person. So the department grew a little bit more. And now she has a really large group of folks. And I do want to point out Stacy Higgins, who is third from the bottom, and then Stephanie Summers, who is at the bottom. They are current school board members. So that's a really cool function where they work part-time for us, but they also are still sitting in your seats, going to the same meetings that you go to and walking down the same path. So we have a wide variety of experience there. And then on page 23, it shows a lot of the things that our board leadership department can offer. Most of these came at the request of school districts. When they started community engagement, it's because the school district felt like they needed to just better communicate with their community and better engage them. So if there's something you'd like to work on and you're not quite sure how to go about it, if it isn't listed here, don't let that stop you. They like to get very creative in board leadership department. Then on page 24 and 25, you have Matt Belka, our Director of Communications. Raise your hand if you get his emails. Yeah, that's what we like to see. He does a really good job of keeping you in touch with everything that's going on. And then page 25, we have Sherry Becker. She runs our superintendent search service. She is also a Gallup strengths coach. That is something that she has done sometimes with a full staff at a district or with a board and their superintendent. And she does it with our staff at an ASB, usually once every 5 or 6 years. So I've done it several times now. It is amazing how much more I learn each time because she'll get everybody's top 5 strengths and then she puts it together like I have achiever as my number 1. And sometimes that makes me move a little bit faster than somebody who might have input as their number 1. They just need more information. It helps me be a better coworker. And I can adjust my speed to make that more effective. So that's something she's done with a lot of boards. And then she is a trained mediator. You always hope you don't need one, but you have one if you do. Then on page 26, this I'm sure is already your favorite page of this membership guide because this is my page. So I'm in charge of member engagement and all of the events that we host. And I brought along the flyers for our state education conference. Thank you. Just send one, guys. I'll leave that here. That is coming up in 37 days. So this is the largest event that we do each year. We should have about 1,000 school board members and superintendents at the CHI Center in downtown Omaha. I want to say we have 57 or 58 breakout sessions. There are 3 general sessions and then 2 pre-conferences. One of the pre-conferences is folks from the Department of Education are going to really break down what is the Nebraska Department of Education's job and what they do for schools and what the federal Department of Education's job is and what they do for schools. Even I, as an NASB employee, am a little bit unclear on that. And with all of the changes at the federal level in the last year, we're really excited to be able to offer that. So I just want to hit highlight there. And then we have probably 33 to 34 events each year. And I would love to think that it's all about the great content that my team puts together and the great presenters and keynote speakers that we get to come in. But oftentimes, you as superintendent and board members might get just as much out of an event from the folks that you sit at the table with, that you network with, and you can say, oh, your district does that too. How is that working? We tried it and we like this, but we don't like that kind of thing. Or sometimes just the ride to and from, if you can all get in a school van and go together, can be very, very valuable. And it's never a situation where you need to be concerned about a quorum at a learning event. Sometimes that's a little bit unclear, so I like to point that out, that that is an exemption to the open meetings law rule on that. So I would also love to talk more about state confidence. Let me know if you have questions. Then on page 21, it shows our operations and our administrative staff that keep us all that are on the road quite often. They really keep me in line and keep me organized so I can do the things that I need to do. So I really appreciate that. Then on page 28, this is for our policy service, and then the energy purchasing that you participate in, and then data analytics. Unfortunately, we did lose Jim this summer to a heart attack. So we're in the process of filling that position right now. We had a little teaser at a staff meeting this morning. We may find something out in the next few weeks. That's just a pretty big job. So it's taken a while to find the right situation, I guess. And then the last page shows our technology folks from Spark Data Solutions and our Envise Association. So what questions can I answer for you? Or there's some things that surprised you. Did you not know that you had access to some of these things with your membership?
Probably.
So surprise.
I offer a lot. That's great.
With Spark Meetings, the digital
Yes.
board meeting platform that is for your agenda to be online, is that what that
Yes.
is? And then
Yep.
with all your supporting information and, okay.
So basically this market that is right here, is you work on it throughout the month, add things, add your attachments until your agenda is final, and then you hit publish. And then everything is available, not only for you as board members, but for your community as well. So we use it for our association, our board of directors. And, you know, with a board of 23 people, it used to be 24. We've had a lot of people with differing levels of comfort with technology in the last 13 years since I've worked at NASB. And it's so interesting to me to see how that has worked. Many people have a laptop at a meeting or a tablet or something, and they're taking notes and they're just really following along. But we also project it up on our screen, and some folks look at it ahead of time, and then they almost watch it like it's a TV show while they're at the board meeting. But we really like it. And it makes it easy for me. A lot of times I need to check our financial reports from previous board meetings. I don't have to keep any of that in paper. I can just go into it. I can pull up any attachment for as long as it's all been archived and have access to it all the time. So if you want me to have somebody from Spark get in touch with you, they can do a demonstration. And of course, there's no fee for the demonstration. Please just let me know.
I will. Thank
I'll
you.
put you in touch with the right person. Now, I also have 4 cards that I included. These are a brand new item that Colby and Matt are putting together for all things advocacy. They picked 4 topics for this year, so you can keep them maybe in, if you keep a folder for all of your board meeting things, that kind of stuff, where maybe you don't have an answer right away if somebody asks you a question, especially on the advocacy part. And then there's also one on school finance, just kind of a nice little bullet point piece of information. if you need to have some answers at your fingertips. Because those are some pretty complex subjects that are hard to understand and sometimes very hard to explain as well. So I'm actually going to spend the next 3 days on the road in Northeast Nebraska and North Central Nebraska. And I asked each district, what do you want me to bring along from our office? And 3 of them picked up some of these at our area membership meetings. And they said, bring a bunch of those because we want to be able to give them to our community members or to board members that weren't able to attend the area membership meeting, that kind of thing. So they're just kind of getting started with these. We call them rack cards. And I know they're already talking about the other subjects they want to include with them as well.
What's the deadline for state conference?
State conference registration closes on Friday. I believe it's November 7th.
Okay.
And we have already added 2 additional hotels. We're going to have an awesome, huge number of attendees this year. So you'll have no trouble getting hotels now. And if you do run into trouble, that means the additional hotels are full. The Convention and Visitor Bureau will contact me. Wait a day, we'll get another hotel added. We're going to be sure everybody has a place to sleep when you're there. And there's some fun social things, like we do an exhibitor reception, and there's all sorts of other, hospitality events that really make it easy for you to meet other board members, meet other superintendents. As new guy to the state, you have a lot of friends to make. I wish I could hear what you were thinking right now.
Thank you for all the information.
You're welcome. This is great. You're welcome. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. I may not be exactly the right person for whatever the topic is, but I'll put you in touch with the right person.
I have to say, within the last year, you guys have been very helpful to me.
I'm glad to hear
with
that.
our superintendent search and
Good.
just making sure our ducks were somewhat in a row when we were in the middle of it. So I do appreciate
Glad to hear it. It's our pleasure to be available to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Going forward, into our employment section of our agenda. I don't believe we have any recommendations or requests for resignation.
No,
So we will go into our informational reports. Starting with our counselor's report. Miss Lisa Lopez.
I'll start with our college visits. We went to SEC Careers and Health Credit on October 2nd, and that was super fun. I took 8 kids. I asked the kids for feedback, and they really liked how it was hands-on, friendly environment, seemed really accessible. They got to do physical therapy, hands-on stations, respiratory. So they got to, I'm not healthcare at all, but they got to do like the trach and the thing of the bag and stuff. Lab, we tested our own blood type. They made some sort of stain for biology for lab. It was really cool. We did G tubes. They had a blast. So really hands-on, and the kids appreciated that opportunity. We have a visit to Peru State College next week. I have 14 kids signed up, so I'm excited about that. Usually Peru, I think it's kind of close to home, so kids are like, I'm not sure about that one. So glad they're wanting to see that one. And then SEC Milford Careers and Power Sports Day is also in November. Just save the date for that Apply to College Day on October 30th. Senior parents, just the FAFSA presentation is from 1 to 2, and the FAFSA is actually open now. So, which is great. We don't have to wait for December. It was open on the 1st of October, which is great. Leadership teams have been super busy. We have 3 junior high and 3 elementary. Junior high Pawnee Power team, they're planning the theme nights, recognizing kids for their involvement in extracurricular activities. Tribe of Service, they've been quiet to start, but late fall, winter, they're going to be doing some more. Indian Impact, they have had a ton of fun with this. We've recognized staff members for Coaches Day, IT Professionals Day. We've had a faculty Friday fun day where Ms. Pierce made apple pie for everybody, and we wheeled it around, which was fun. Elementary teams does the Pawnee Puzzlers, so that's trivia each Wednesday morning. And it's really fun to watch the kids become more confident. At first, they're a little bit scared, but then the next time I grab them, they're like, I feel more confident today. I was like, great, you can go first. So it's great to see that growth.
It's fun to listen to it too. I sit out in out front of the school before a meeting, and yeah, it's fun to listen to them do it.
It is fun. The kindness crew, each Friday, they pick 4 staff members and they write a handwritten note to them and they deliver them. And the staff really like it. They're just like, this simple act really just goes a long way. And then Brave Bites, they help with fruit and veggie snack each day. And then I think it was not last Friday, maybe the Friday before, we had a slushy delivery to each elementary student. So we kind of divided and conquered. So it's fun to get them out there really active. And I think we're getting a lot more done by kind of dividing and conquering. Acuplacer is going to be on October 16th. SEC comes in person to administer this test. It can help kids gain admission into SEC programs like CNA or welding if they're interested in taking those dual credit classes. It can also help place kids into dual credit classes like college English or college algebra. Or let's say a student is planning to attend SEC and they want to test into college English, so they're not stuck taking like basic English, intermediate English. They can do that as well. And then SEC registration has already started. We started today. I meet with the kids 2 separate times. The first time is to decide what class they want to take, how we can work it into their schedule. And then when registration starts on October 17th, that's when we log into the hub, put in their course codes, make sure that everything's looking okay on that end. And then 2 things I wanted to add. We got a grant from Education Quest for an 8th grade visit for spring of 26. So we will be taking the 8th graders to 2 college visits and then also a career visit. Excited for that. And then just a quick reminder, I'm sure you guys have seen it on social media, but we have our DC trip meeting tomorrow at 6. We've shared out with parents and kids, email, text, social media. So World Classrooms is coming to Pawnee City to do that meeting. If parents have RSVP, then they're eligible for a $500 scholarship in case they can't come to the meeting because of football or volleyball and stuff. So hopefully we got a good turnout for that. So another big trip. So
With the acuplacer, what grades do that? Is it?
it's 10, 11, 12.
10, 12.
Yes. And the scores are good for 3 years. So like I've had current juniors who took it as a sophomore and tested it in college English and college algebra. So they're like, I don't want to worry about it. I know that I have a spot in that.
Okay.
And that can be beyond Southeast Community College, right? So other schools, right, if they want to apply to something through them with Acuplacer, they take it, or is it just exclusively for Southeast?
From what I know, it's exclusively for SEC. I know that Highland does something different, and that's the work piece,
Okay.
like a different placement test. Sure. It's a good test. I mean, it's not timed, it's for free. Kids can take it as many times as they want. If they test into college English but haven't tested into college algebra, then they just take that math test again and again and again. So it's kind of nice, like ACT, you have to take like all 4 sub tests after place where you pick and choose which one you want to do. If there's any questions or okay.
So thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next one is the principal report. Did Derek leave you anything?
He did not.
Okay, Derek is send us all an email. He's at the trainer conference volleyball tonight. So if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to reach out to him. We'll just go on to Mr. Evans' report now. Okay.
So just a few things, a reminder about superintendent's evaluation. I think at the November meeting is when we must do that, right? So just a reminder about getting your information in.
I have sent an email to them about getting this self-evaluation. I have not heard back from them. I'm gonna have to send them up again tomorrow.
Good.
And then as soon as I get that information, I'll send it up to you guys, or if they'll push it out to you, I don't know how that is. But hopefully I'll have an answer tomorrow, be able to let you guys know what's going on.
Okay. So I did want to touch base on the curriculum, the ELA curriculum. I think I shared some information with you, and I think it was you, Hannah, that shared yeah, I'm on the curriculum committee for the board, and I thought, I forgot the board had a curriculum committee. As I was trying to think of how we go about selecting the curriculum. So that is a question that I have for you. I guess the way I see it is with the curriculum committee, we will be doing some activities, some events with the help from EXU personnel with our teachers to try to select materials. And I would guess that I would invite the committee members if they can and have the ability to be a part of that. And then to update them throughout the process. I don't know what you've done in the past.
I've never been to a curriculum committee.
We've only had
Okay,
one meeting in the 3 years that I,
okay. And was that with math?
no, it was with the ELA. Were you on it with me?
Mhm.
You
Okay,
and me, Mary, we talked
We talked,
to
it was,
Mr. Flock.
that was with civics, that was our civic,
okay.
which we did again soon.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's what I plan on doing with that committee is keeping you informed and trying to provide you information, make it available to be at meetings. I know it's really difficult to do that. You have a life too, and you have careers. So anyway, I think that for these type of things, it's important to have a decision-making model, and I already talked about this with our educational service unit people. Jan is her name, that we're going to work toward a consensus decision. Sometimes teachers will be very passionate about one instructional material over another, and it's possible to have conflict. And so we have to kind of decide on how we're going to go about making that decision. The goal is to make a decision at the April 6th in service, and then to bring it to the board in April for a decision from the board. I think it makes a lot of sense to have the same material K through 8, especially using professional development from outside to use the materials, scope and sequence of materials. It just makes sense to me to have the same materials for the middle school as the high school. We do have the CLSD grant that will help our middle school and high school. Our high school is a little bit unique in that we have a teacher created curriculum, and she's been very successful and wants to continue with that. There will be a possibility to have additional materials for her, but I think that we are planning on continuing to do that at the high school level. Any questions about curriculum? Okay. I did want to mention just something I know. Last week, I had an article in the paper about winning culture, and ever since I've been part of the district, I keep hearing about culture. I keep hearing about us needing to work on culture and to talk about culture. I think that each of us brings a different concept of what culture is when we talk about it. I don't always know that we're talking about the same thing. I know I kind of targeted student learning, but also activities with that and talking about culture. I didn't know if you had any comments or thoughts as we continue to work on it. I know we're going to read. There's information from the strategic planning committee that's working on culture too. So I just wondered if there are things that you were wanting to see or anything along those lines moving forward.
I think it can embrace a lot of different things for me. I just think having expectations for our students to have set in place to rise to get the most positive and best results from them. If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. Yeah.
Want to be transparent about those expectations and get everybody on board. Like, this person has the same expectations as the next person. It may not be the same way that each kid gets to it, but I think it's not just kids, but parents, community. Getting everyone involved and everyone knowing, hey, these are our expectations. We all gotta work together to get there.
Yeah.
But how you get the mass, everybody involved in
Yeah.
that, that's where I don't know.
And I'm not sure either. I do think that talking about it is one of our first steps. I mean, we really need to talk about it. We need to talk about what that means for each of us. And I think just by talking about it and we're communicating as a board to the district that this is an area that we want to improve and we see some areas that we can improve and individually we're willing to work on it. So yeah. Okay. Thank you for that conversation. I did want to update you on the 21st century information. My link isn't coming up there. I think the link is live on the website. That is an email from the lady that's the head of that grant for the state of Nebraska, and she talked about trying to take a look at doing a summer program with that money. So that's where we are at this point, is considering some type of a summer literacy program at the school coming up. And I know that from the information, the survey that I sent out to our staff, there were more individuals that were interested in helping in the summertime than there were during the school year. So at this point, that's kind of where we are with that. I shared with you the policy 3008. We talked about that at the last meeting. That's the policy on gifts to the board. So we had a conversation. I wanted to follow up with that information. The NDOT is just information about road construction that's going to be starting. That will impact one of our bus routes, but I know when I rode the bus on routes, I was with Todd Lytle and all the drivers. I'm telling you, we're fortunate to have the ones we have. But Todd is a very good bus driver, and Todd is on the yellow line with the bus, and I'm sitting right behind him. And he said, "I want you to know that I'm on the yellow line because this road is cupped so bad that I have to stay on that yellow line as long as there aren't cars coming." And I wasn't really. I could kind of see what he was doing, and I wasn't. He just wanted to make sure I was aware of it. So that road will be, that Highway 4 stretch will be under construction. Let's see. Provided some pictures of new air conditioner units that were in place. And finally, I did want to mention I received some information just late Friday, and then today I reached out to my Nebraska Department of Education contact within the finance department. I received a form certified school adjusted value report. So I didn't know I was going to be receiving one. I looked online. I don't think there's anything that we need to do with this information, but it shows that our valuation, if you could pass one of those around, please. Our valuation for Pawnee County is higher than it was when we did our budget. Richardson County went down slightly. So I just wanted to make you aware of this information. And the difference between what we published our budget at, the 451 million figure down there toward the bottom right, to the adjusted amount, is almost $11 million greater. So I don't know what that means for us. I will try to update you at the next meeting. I would assume if that's the actual valuation, I would assume the mill rate would go down slightly, but I can't guarantee that. I don't want to say that at this point. So I will try to get you some additional information on that as I learn of the impact of that information. And that's all I have, unless there's questions for me.
The summer program with that grant is be for childcare type stuff, or how would that, or, they mention much about what that will include.
So I don't know that we would be able to run it for an entire summer. I see us possibly running it for mornings. Of course, we've been doing the summer food service anyway, so I mean, that is a possibility to have them over the lunch hour as well. I will need to find out what people are willing to work in the summertime.
Because we have technically accepted that. And
We are part of the grant. We have
Okay.
not accepted the money. And you have to spend it before you request the reimbursement. So that's not money we have in the coffers that we have to spend. The state still has it. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So that decision will be a while yet.
I would think it would be. And I still am back to the problem of I have to find that person that's willing to be a director, that's willing to oversee the program. And I keep finding people that are kind of interested, and then when I push them on it, they pull back out. And so I need to find that person that's willing to do it.
Other than being out the money that we spent for the grant writers, would there be any other penalties if we if it doesn't work out that we don't have that director?
No, no.
Just
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks.
All right, the next thing on the list are the reports from the Strategic Plan Committee.
I asked them to provide a written report on how things were going. Excuse me. I did, I know one of the challenges and we see this especially with recruitment and retention group, is that a lot of the recruitment and retention items are money oriented. And I think that that's a challenge, excuse me, when it comes to us negotiating. And I know that, and I had a conversation with one of our negotiators here at the school, is that as we do our work toward negotiations, as we look at our our array of other schools, we determine an amount of money that we kind of need to spend. And it's important that money be used in a way that as a board, we get credit for paying it out. And some of the ideas like hiring bonuses kind of come outside of the realm of that. And so there's some real challenges. It's almost like each individual thing we have to look at very closely. And we go from there. I know that when I was a teacher and negotiating, my thoughts were, we get this amount to go for salaries, and then we go back and get more for different things. As an administrator, I see this is the money that we have for salaries, and how we divide that up, as long as it's going to benefit our staff, I don't have that many strong feelings about. So it's a different in perception in regards to negotiations. So I don't know. I know that's just a real challenging thing with that group, and trying to find ways for recruitment and retention that's not about money. And I think that it'll give us some good conversation to have as we go through negotiations. Academic opportunities. They did a lot of work that's pretty interesting. Positive engagement committee. This is something that I think it's good for us to continue to have those conversations. I think that goes to the culture and the climate that we want to improve. School culture is here as well. So I would be happy to share information. We are going to have a strategic planning committees meet again on October 20th at our in-service. So they will be meeting again. I don't know if there's anything from the board. I know I wanted to keep you up to date on their conversations. So you would have an idea of where that's headed. One of the items that was brought up was the question about why staff members aren't on the building and grounds committee. Well, the board can have a building and grounds committee. But as a strategic plan item, they just wondered why they were left off of that. And I think that if I remember talking with Brian, his thought process was that that really comes down to finances, and that really is the board's realm. But I think getting input on that, on some of that information, would be a good idea from the staff.
I appreciate these, though, so I can look for them to see what's been talked about.
They put a lot of thought into it, and I know that they were very serious when they were doing their strategic committee meetings. They take it very seriously.
All right, any more comments, questions for reports for strategic plan committees? Strategic planning committee? All right, if not, then we'll go on to buildings and grounds committee report.
So the next couple of items on the agenda really are here because of the conversations that we had with the building and grounds committee. I think it seemed pretty unanimous that we wanted to go out and get somebody hired to give us some professional opinions on some of the projects that we're looking at. And that coming up next, that's the proposal from Tim Rip with that facility consultation. Anything committee members you'd like to share? We didn't actually meet. We shared thoughts on a Google Doc. I thought it was a very open conversation on there. Everybody seemed to feel strongly we needed to hire somebody. And then when it came to the track improvement, I thought everybody, all the members that were on there sounded committed to moving forward with that work on the track. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something, especially with. We've hosted districts for the last several years, and bigger track meets, I think. In order to do that and to keep the track nice, you gotta.
Yeah.
Spend that money.
How often does it require resurfacing? Do you know?
I think it's about every 7 years. And you can only do it twice, I think, before you're supposed to redo the whole thing. You know what I mean? So you're looking at a lifespan of 20 to 25 years.
So is this the second time we've had to resurface?
Just the
This is
Is
the
it
first,
first?
this is the first since we completely redid it.
Is there any visible or complaints about anything on the track? Like, is there any? It's just preemptive, you know what I'm saying?
I do,
Has there
I do.
been any issues in any places or anything that?
I don't think so.
I walked, it looked really good.
It does look good. You can tell somewhere. I mean, you can see it. But no, I think it looks like it's still in pretty good shape. I mean, and I don't know what the downside is. I'm always very cautious when the company that's selling you the product is the one telling you need to go ahead and do it. But they do say that, and that is something that if you wanted to, when we get to our next item, they can give us some guidance on whether or not they think it needs to be done. I mean, um, so that's a possibility too. I think maybe we're ready to get into that next item. Are you?
Going right into the
Because
proposal.
I've probably overstepped my bounds anyway.
The new business proposal from Tim Rick for facility consulations. Sorry, capital improvement, long-term schedule.
Okay. So I know that one of his last emails, and this is probably something that he sees because um Mr. Niss and Todd Lytle both came to me that tuck pointing on the high school might be an issue as well. And so I shared with him then that that might be something that we want to look at as well. And he proposed hiring them to work on an hourly basis until a set scope can be established, if you would prefer. And I would almost rather just hire them on an hourly basis for the work that they do for us. I don't know what your thought is. I know that when people bid a project, they have to estimate what they really should make on it, and then they have to pad it by 10% or whatever. And so I always am. I know it's nice to have a ceiling of not going beyond a certain amount of money, but I also think that maybe paying them on an hourly basis for their work is maybe the way to go. I don't know. I'm interested in what your thoughts are.
And this is just for the evaluation of like the facilities and then the stuff you sent.
Well, and I think that our facility and grounds committee really needs to identify what it is that they want them to work on and really work on. So, I mean, it's going to cost you some money to get the answers that you want, but the lights on the field are one example of, do you want to pursue that or not? Do you want to pay somebody to put some time and effort into getting us some information on what that would take?
Right.
I don't know if it's possible to use the existing poles or not. I know one pole I think is supposed to be replaced. But I thought if we had, I'm sure that there's a product out there that's a lighter weight light that they could use, LEDs. And if we could have lights on both sides of the poles, we could get a large chunk of the track, as well as the field. Um, and then there's considerations there too. As we do these projects, what kind of energy savings can we see if we move to LED lights? What does that look like in the long run for us compared to our current expenses? So there's a lot of things here to think about. The scope of the project, though, I think would be good for the committee to try to work on. What are your thoughts, committee members, of trying to? I would assume we'd need to sit down with Tim, and maybe he might bring somebody else along and try to nail down what it is we really want him to spend some time on. Is that something you think would be a good idea?
I do. I think that would be beneficial, especially to get his point of view of these are all the things that we could look at out of that. What is your, we can evaluate and say, well, this really isn't a priority, but this really is.
Do you know what the hourly wage is? Did he say? Just
Yes, I do, and it's kind of some large figures. So he had down, I'd have to go look, let me look back here. Hmm.
Not to interrupt you, but
No, that's good. That's a good question. Because he had identified some individuals. So Tim TJ Shermer. And Adam Kent. Or who would be involved. And so Tim is $370 an hour. Where's Sherman?
I thought it was up there by two,
Was it?
maybe.
That was underneath, yeah.
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 370. And Adam, what was his name?
Kent.
Kent.
There's a Kent under engineering principal,
285.
285 right
Okay.
there.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're looking at some,
$1,000 an hour if they're all together. Ish.
yes. Yes.
Depending on how many hours.
I know when I asked
I
him
don't know.
for a ballpark figure and he gave us a $10,000 figure. He said $10,000 to $15,000 is kind of the ballpark he was shooting us.
Trying to decide whether if we, I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna be cheaper for, this is. the
I
4K
don't know.
For,
I don't know. I know that they're working on the Lewiston project, the CTE building there in Lewiston.
whether it be, like you said, the hourly thing, I understand. But yeah, depending on, yeah, I don't know, like you said, you could get.
Did he say about what he thought, how long it would take them?
He didn't, and it depends on what we decide is the scope of the project. What all we want them to look into is going to determine how much it's going to be.
If we knew what we were talking about specifically, like, per line item here, if we brought in somebody specifically that in that industry to quote, it would be free, wouldn't it? If they give an opinion on it instead of just, if we were specific to the boiler, we should bring somebody in.
Right,
that is
right.
Sufficient in, boilers, and they
Yes.
could probably tell us the lifespan expected, what's in those details and quote that type of scenario for nothing, right? I mean,
I don't know.
If we want,
for a quote type of thing, or, give us their opinion on it,
Mhm.
somebody specifically specialized in that. You can. Same with the tuck point thing, I'm sure there's.
well, I had reached out to a gentleman out of Beatrice and I was kind of holding off on that until I knew what happened here for him to take a look at the tuck pointing.
This is, we're basically paying somebody, an engineer to come in and look at each individual thing.
Yes,
Specifically. Where if we get into. We know amongst ourselves what are the priorities, we can go specific to companies to bring somebody in specific or do something.
Maybe the, it's expensive.
Well, that may not be anything if somebody specializes in this. Yeah, if it needs fixed, and of course. If we do it this way, this would be more of a neutral,
yeah,
opinion on it rather than, somebody trying to get the business, as well, so.
yes, yeah.
That is true.
Does that go against how we are supposed to though? Like put projects out for bids?
Oh,
Well,
okay, you have to-
we would put the project out for bid after they identified what it was, and then we probably additional hire would be
Right.
if they work
But what
up.
I'm saying is like what he's saying, they might
Mhm.
charge us if that's the case. If they're not guaranteed to get the bid, they might charge us.
Well, I think that's part of it is that
to come look at it.
to get that objective viewpoint on like the boiler. If I'm trying to sell you a boiler, yep, it's at the end of life. I mean, I think that's the goal for trying to hire a company like this is to
Yeah.
and be more objective about it.
Can we just have our boiler looked at too, Well, when we did our unit tour, they said it had just been looked at, cause that's what Todd
Well,
likes.
they have to be inspected annually.
Right, it had been.
Right, it had
It
been.
was okay.
Yes, it passed inspection for this year.
For this year.
Right, but for this year,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that could be one less thing to put on the
Mhm.
thing.
right.
I don't know. I'm not on the finishing ground, so.
But I agree with Mark. If we knew somebody who had expertise in that area that we could hire as an objective person, somebody who's done boilers for the last 20 years, they probably would be able to come in and give us some real good advice at not,
$360 an hour.
yeah.
But are we gonna know somebody for each?
Well, I don't.
That's, I guess, what I
That's the issue.
worry is we turn these guys down and be like, oh, we'll find our own, but then it's like, well, we're gonna end up finding. It's gonna give us that non-bite. Yeah.
So then if we hire them, they give us their opinion, then we send it out for quote if we want to move forward with it, and we got to find somebody to do it anyway.
So I would hope that they would be able to write the request for proposal for us. That would be very helpful in getting bids, because you know how that is. I mean, you have to have the engineering drawings to move forward and the specifications.
So we need to have the buildings and grounds committee meet again to figure out what best,
How to proceed.
how to proceed, how they want to present to the board what we need to do or what they feel we need to do. Cause right now we're getting nowhere fast.
Right.
I would be fine with that. I guess my only hesitation with that is without having, I guess, somebody there to say, well, like we can have our own ideas of what may need to be looked at, but if you bring in an engineer or somebody that knows all the elements of the school and whatnot, are we gonna miss something that should be on our list that,
What do you bring the maintenance guys that work here
well,
in your meeting? I don't know, just a suggestion.
That's what I suggested to maybe survey some people that actually are here about some of the stuff. Our maintenance people and see if there's something specifically. The people deal with this daily, and see stuff that they just haven't brought up or talked about, it's probably some of that would be very beneficial in our conversations here on prioritizing
Yeah.
things that need to be done.
I visited quite a bit with Todd Lytle about what he sees, what his opinion is, what he works with and works to keep operating. So
I think it'd be a good idea for you guys to meet in person and sit down with Todd and Rod or, anybody else
Right.
within and discuss what their ideas, what they believe we need to address. And if we can come back next month and decide, this is the route we want to go, then I think we'll be better off and have the information rather than ping pong around tonight and not really getting anywhere fast, so.
and Todd and Rod might have ideas of people to reach out to too
Mhm.
Exactly.
on maintenance and who can.
okay,
Sounds great. I look forward to hearing what you guys come up with.
if you're okay, I'd like to touch base on the capital improvement long-term schedule,
Go
just
for it.
briefly. I tried to go year by year for 5 years to give you an idea of financially just on some of these items that we have down. And I don't think that there's a lot on here that's really wild. $150,000 on the football field lights. If you put in new lights, that's not nearly enough. But I don't know if you're gonna do that. But anyway, so I tried to get an idea just to understand what the money is needed moving forward just for some of these projects to try to maintain what we have. And so, and I lumped together depreciation fund and special building fund kind of all together, and for the most part, it works out moving forward. But if you remember, this year we levied taxes for $200,000 in the special building fund. And I think my thought is that this year with our valuation going up, it was kind of a special year. I don't know if you want to continue doing that for the future, but just being able to support what's on our list here, we're talking about a transfer of 50,000 and $100,000 new money from taxes with the special building fund. Now there's other ways to do it. I mean, but this is kind of what you're looking at for a financial commitment just moving forward. And the 50,000 is coming from the general fund. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what that kind of looks like. And like I said, I don't think there's anything extravagant on the list. And I think that most of the things are going to be needs. Thank you.
All right. The only other thing that was not put on the informational reports, and we'll talk about a little bit later, that the Education Foundation or the Communications Committee did meet. And we can talk about that when we get to letter E of the new business. So, new business B, approve RFP for track proposal, the budget estimate.
So the budget estimate was a document that I was made aware of after I reached out to Midwest. They're the ones who did the track in the first place. And this is, I'm not familiar with a budget estimate. And so what I'm told is it's an estimate that you can use for budgeting for the future. It's intended to be over the price of what it's really going to be to do the project. So I was told that when they would bid this project, it would likely be less than that 85,000. So I wanted to make you aware of that. I did do some work on a request for proposal for a track surfacing project, using project I worked on previously, as well as the information that Midwest had provided on their bid. So I'm obviously not an expert in this area. This is very similar to something that I had done previously. But like I said, I'm not an expert in the area. I wouldn't mind having a different pair of eyes on this from somebody who's a little bit more of an expert than I am. I don't know. I'm interested in hearing what you're thinking.
I think it'd be fine to have a second. So
I don't know of who to go to get that, except back to Tim Rip, that organization. And I would think they'd be able to do that. I would think that in an hour's worth of work that they would be able to review this to get us feedback. Are you comfortable with that?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Sure.
This whole track resurfacing proposal thing, is this just based on just a 7-year lifespan from is that why it's thrown into this now? That's why we're discussing it. It's just based on the lifespan given, not actual like wear and tear or anything. That it's just what I'm getting at is that, is it actually needed? Do we need to spend that type of money on it? Is it?
You know as much about it as I
Yeah,
do, you know?
It needs resealed after this. It's been like the ceiling leak or, any details on
Yeah,
it.
you've walked it too, and if you take a look, there's a difference between what the lanes look like, what the surface is on the lanes, and then if you go slightly outside the lanes on the outer edge, it's a little bit of a rougher surface. It's a little bit. So I think you can see a difference. But I'm with you. I don't know if it's that much of a need or not. I'm told it is. That's what I know.
Gotcha. I was just curious to see how this actually got on the list, this time frame anyway. So it's just based on specifically, probably the company says needs redone in 7 years, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And for the life of the track, it's been every 7 years, we've done it since we went from the gravel dirt track to the new track. It's been done every 7 years,
That was based on
the
Recommendation.
recommendation and the material where, from the original scope of the project.
I get what you're saying, Mark, like if it really doesn't need it, then why do it? I do, but then I wonder if you don't do it,
Are we
you're
gonna
gonna
put
have to
into?
replace rather than just resurface.
Mhm.
is there?
Exactly.
That I don't know.
And that's
Sure.
quite a bit more than actual, just the resealing and of it.
And I'm sure you could go 8 years instead of 7 years, but
that was my thing. I mean, is it something that could be actually 10 years? It's
Right.
just 7 years I'm selling you this product. You should probably do it maybe 3 years, no later than 7 years.
Right.
When it actually will probably do 15, but you know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean. And then we're back to Tim Rip.
Then it's on our usage, how much does our track use compared to bigger schools that they apply it to,
Yeah.
and we have 100 kids on it as opposed to it. More
So we're
traffic.
gonna have to have somebody come look at it. 10 minutes.
So is that where we are? Is we want to hire a consultant to come in and take a look at it? Let us know if it needs to be done or not.
What do you think?
I just have minimal experience of this. I'm the new guy here, so.
I think they're gonna tell you, it needs to be done, is what I think. But that's not a guarantee or
Right.
a real strong conviction. I think that's probably what they're gonna do. And I know they talk about the sunlight is the biggest problem for tracks, just the exposure.
I understand, questioning it, but like, I know that none of us are the subject experts on it. And there's just a point where you have to trust the people who work with it day in and day out. I mean, to be able to tell us that, hey, yeah, this is what we need to do. This is what you should do. I mean, I don't know if there's any warranties that if we don't do it within 7 years,
that's what
that
I wondered. Yeah.
if we don't do it every 7 years, that, that's gonna void a warranty that we have. I mean, I don't know the answers to that question. But it's something to think about too. I don't know if there is any documentation of previous work in the files for
Right.
that. I mean, it'd be beneficial for the Buildings and Grounds Committee to look at or talk about when they meet. next month.
I do know that, and I'm not trying to push you into this at all, but I do know that if you want it done next summer, on our timeline, we need to have it approved
So,
by probably our November meeting. Otherwise, we run the risk of them not being able to meet our deadlines or them charging us more money because we put a deadline on it and I put a completion date on there for a reason. So anyway, so moving forward, is this something else to talk about with the committee,
I would
the
say,
Building and Grounds
I would
Committee?
say yes.
Okay,
It'll be okay if we choose to do it, because you have that November 1st up there, that won't be an issue.
I can I can change that.
Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I think that's I think in November 10th is our board meeting. It was November 11th. So I was gonna put it out for a request for proposal, get bids, bring the bids back to you at the next board meeting, but we'll back that up.
All right, going on to our next thing is review and discuss district goals.
We have the strategic plan, which is kind of our district goals. I know after our conversation with the NERCSA gentleman, I thought it would be good to have a follow-up conversation about these goals. I know communication came up over and over. Increasing teacher morale, which goes back to your culture. And then the facilities and maintenance plan. So those are kind of the top three issues that they identified for us.
I liked these. I think it's good to have them out there for us to be transparent, to be able to have expectations for each other. So when I read through them, I liked them.
I mean, I agree that these are the three that hit me most out of our conversations when they were here. Communication being, the number one, I think. I know some people think that you can over communicate, but I am not one of those people. I'd rather have things over communicated to me, and understand where people are coming from versus assuming you know exactly what's going on and it having been not what's actually going on. Um, yeah. I would love for us to be able to incorporate these three things into our agenda every month, to be able to review what are we doing to better communicate between us as a board, us and this faculty and staff, us and Mr. Evans, us and Mrs. Blacka, Mr. Ness. I think it would be something that would benefit us all, having a foremost of our agenda and discuss it. Not necessarily discuss it in depth, but making sure that we're all going in the same pathway, that these are our goals and this is what we're doing this month to reach towards these three goals. And I think it would do a lot for us as a board, us as a school, us as a community.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion about district goals?
No.
All right. So we have a couple things. The Education Foundation did meet since our last board meeting, and we do have a couple of reimbursements in here. And I will go ahead and make the motion to approve the waived team and scholarship in lieu of $1,800 gap year at the Bay program for scholars from the scholarship fund. Number two, to reimburse Mr. Don Jacobs $133.90 for the Praxel test fee, and approve the grant approvals not to exceed $500 for out-of-state college visits, not to exceed $1,300 for the student leadership program, $2,400 for play productions from the Fine Arts Fund or Finance and Foreign Language Fund, $323.30 for the Paint Your Own Ornament Night out of the Fine Arts and Foreign Language Fund, $450 for staff meals during the fall parent-teacher conferences out of the general fund, $476 for the Golden Readers program, and up to $300 for Tricky Bingo for family night.
I second.
Motion by Jason, second by Bobby. I have no other additional comments or questions. Bobby, do you?
I no.
Any other board members have any comments or questions?
I don't, but I was like,
All right, hearing none, we'll start with Hope.
Yes.
Julie is absent. Mark,
Yes.
Jason, yes, Hannah,
Yes.
and Bobby.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Last item on our agenda,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
motion by Bobby, second by Hannah to adjourn. We'll go ahead and vote. Julia is absent. Mark,
Yes.
Jason, yes, Hannah,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Hope.
Yes.
We are adjourned at 7:22.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.